So I went to the Chance the Rapper show last night in Forest Hills. And first off, have you guys been to the Forest Hills Stadium? I have not. This was my first time going, and really impressed with the venue. I loved it. Very cool. Not that big, outdoors, kind of like an infield where everyone's standing, and then bleachers, kind of semicircle-ish around, which those all open seating, so no actual ticket numbers, all general admission, which is a cool vibe. And it happens to be Forest Hills where they used to have the US Open. And I grew up is a strong word, I guess, until I was 3 or 4 and became all bougie and headed out to Jericho, Long Island. I lived in Forest Hills, actually, so I was in walking distance from the Forest Hills Stadium, from the US Open. So I was just walking through there and envisioning a little me going to check out McEnroe, Connors, and Borg back in the early 80s. But it's cool because they kept a lot of the tennis vibe there. Like the floors are still tennis, has the lines, it's the grass. It's very well done. Good concession stands, nice fonts and typography. I noticed it's just it's a cool spot and not that far, not that hard to get to. Anyway, let me just throw that out there. So we're going to see Chance the Rapper, and as we're walking in, I obviously was wearing a Wu-Tang shirt because gotta represent all the youngins that I was sure was going to be in the house for a show like Chance the Rapper. So I had my Wu-Tang 36 shirt on, and as I'm going through the ticket turnstile, somebody's checking my tickets, and the ticket taker from the line next to me, an older woman, says, "Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang," and she gets her friend, "Look, Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang." I barely acknowledge, I give a little nod, and then as they call over another person, "Wu-Tang," I just slowly, as I'm dealing with my whole ticket thing, I slowly lift my hands up and put my W in the air, and they crack up, and I move on with my day. So that was good vibes heading into Chance as we get some Wu-Tang respect at the door. However, I assume the people in the room, the crowd, does not have that much respect for Wu-Tang because they are half my age, pretty much. The crowd was young. I would say the mean or the average, I don't know, mean, median, average, whatever you want to call it, around 24, possibly. I'm 40. I was with my wife and another couple, so we were certainly outliers in the crowd, which I'm totally fine with. But in terms of the approach to hip hop that I have versus the mass amounts of people in the crowd, probably a little different feelings on those type of things. So just to talk about that a little bit before I get into Chance specifically, my approach to new rap and new hip hop over the last, 10, 15 years is very anti old man, set in my ways. I don't want to hear anything about this new stuff. I don't give it a chance, and that type of vibe. Yeah, I noticed I used the word chance there. Whatever. So that's usually my stance. I hear something. If you tell me about somebody new, or I hear through social media or wherever that so-and-so is a new good rapper, before I even hear one word of them, I already assume it sucks. And you know what? I would say 75, 80% of the time, I'm right. Chance the Rapper now, not just Game of Chance. Chance the Rapper was one of these new artists that broke through for me. And it wasn't from the get-go, because I remember my friend Rachel told me like 5 years ago, check out this new dude, Chance the Rapper. And people tell me all the time, check out this person, check out this person. I rarely do because I assume they're wrong and the person sucks. But more often than that, it's somebody I respect telling me this and I just forget about it, or I don't get around to it, or I say send it to me and they don't, something like that. I kind of continue living my life and never get to hear it. So I don't remember if I even gave Chance a chance back then, but so I wasn't in for his early stuff. At the Coloring Book, his last album last year, the one that really elevated him to his, new, really, really hyped up level A type of hip hop star and artist. That's what got me. And enough so that I was willing to go out on a Wednesday night, which is pretty rare, out to Forest Hills to see a show. Now, we got there, I would say a half hour before Chance was scheduled to go on, and this is where it was very clear the difference, the different approaches to hip hop from me to everyone else in the room. Because there was a DJ Oreo, who I'd never heard of, playing music, song after song after song, and the people in the crowd, 97% of the crowd loved every song he dropped, knew most of the lyrics, and were all going nuts. Great energy in the room. Great energy. All these young kids were like ready to party, and that was great because I love that. I love that. Especially in a concert, which is tougher to get in an outdoor venue, I think. I usually prefer indoor, smaller concert venues because the energy is like so contained and so on top of you. But it was a gorgeous night, and so the energy was great. And this guy, DJ Oreo, was building the energy in the room by dropping these bombs, which I thought pretty much across the board absolutely sucked. I couldn't even tell you who it was. Probably fucking Future, probably Drake, probably Migos, whoever the hell these guys are. But I didn't enjoy any of it. And it's amazing that you could have such a people all in one spot for a common cause, in this case to see Chance the Rapper, be so opposed on opposite ends of the spectrum for something like music that is so aligned with the reason you're there for in the first place. I don't know if you followed that, but long story short, I'm probably the dick in this situation because everyone else who was there to see Chance loved everything, and I was just like, my God, you kids don't know nothing. Do you even know what the word Wu-Tang on my shirt even means? Shut the music, let me teach everyone right now. That's what I wanted to do. It didn't actually happen, but that's what should have happened because, kids these days. Anyway, so that was the DJ Oreo session moving in, and that's what I was thinking. But every once in a while, between the nonsense, he did drop he dropped an "Ain't No Mountain High Enough." He did play to the old folks in the room like myself once in a while and drop a little older thing. Funny thing was, he's like, I think it might have been the end, like maybe the last song before Chance is gonna come on, and he's like, I'm in New York. If I was gonna drop one song about New York, what do you think it would be? And people started screaming shit I'd never heard of. Cardi B, which is a new name I see on Twitter and Instagram a lot, who I know nothing about. Anyway, I'm like, or he even calls that out and says, no, it's not gonna be Cardi B, I'm taking it back from when I was growing up. I'm like, all right, word, what are we gonna get here for New York? We're gonna get like some Biggie stuff, we're gonna get Run DMC, LL Cool J, He's like, when I was growing up, this is the jam from New York. And it was Jay-Z and Alicia Keys, which in my mind came out like yesterday, pretty much. So that made me think, you know what? Chance the Rapper is only 22, 23. This guy's his boy. When they were quote unquote growing up, I guess this song was big, and it was probably 5-6 years ago rather than a week or two ago. But another thing, so it was really just another thing that added to me being fucking old, basically. Anyway, Chance. This guy is magnetic, right? Like you talk about it factor, he's got it. And I didn't need the live show to tell me that. That's just clear and partially what has attracted to me, I guess, up until that point. But in person, I mean, it's just there. It's just like you want to smile around him. He's adorable. And I don't mean that in a creepy way. I mean that in like literally, he's so able to be adored. Like I heard people around me a bunch of times during the show saying, oh my God, he's so cute. And like he is. He's just an adorable human being. And on top of that, obviously because his shit is all about fun and positivity and good, that obviously helps, bring that vibe around him and around the audience and around the show. Like it was a beautiful evening for, if I'm gonna do it in old man speak. It really was, and there was just positivity in the air, and everyone was in a good mood on a gorgeous night with this guy on stage having everyone's attention just zoomed in on him, and he really killed it. And I thought, heading in, because I am I guess, recent Chance fan with Coloring Book and not the early stuff, I thought that the show, maybe I would know half of the songs. I thought that I wouldn't be familiar with any of his early stuff like Acid Rap album, and I assume because he's so popular now that he's got a ton of guest spots on really popular tracks on the radio these days, which I literally know zero of. Like I never turn on the radio. I don't know any popular songs pretty much. So I assumed I would know, half of what actually went on. And to my surprise, pleasantly, he basically did every song from Coloring Book. Besides definitely didn't do one with Jay Electronica, and maybe one other one, but pretty much across the board, he touched on every single song on Coloring Book, which is a fantastic album, the one that I know, the reason that I like him, so that was incredible. Besides that, just to give you a quick set list rundown, he did, I think, one song from Acid Rap. He did Sunday Candy, which is, he's got this other side project group called Donnie Trumpet and the Social Experiment, I believe, is the name, and that's their most popular song is Sunday Candy, which was really dope. And then he also did this new song that he debuted on Colbert this week, and it was fantastic. I had seen the Colbert video on YouTube before I went to the show a couple days ago. I highly recommend if you're a Chance fan, if you're a rap fan, if you're just a fan of music, Google or YouTube Chance the Rapper Colbert, because it's a fantastic song. And you know that when artists at concerts do new material, that's usually when people go out to the concession stands and take a break and sit down because they're not invested by knowing the lyrics and knowing what's going to happen. This was completely different. I'm sure a handful of the people had seen Colbert, but I didn't know the song. It's an incredible track, and it was like kind of mesmerizing even though nobody knew the lyrics. So highly recommend checking that out. Beyond that, I mean, when you put that all together, all the elements that I just mentioned with that set list and the ambiance and Chance, it was a fantastic show. And, I've been to many, many shows in my day, usually a lot more grimier than that. But again, to speak like an adult and a father of two, I thoroughly enjoyed my evening out. So fucking lame. And finally, my favorite song on the album is called Same Drugs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chance or not, but go check that song out. It's ridiculous. And it was, 10 minutes left. We knew that there was a curfew. Forest Hills Stadium has a 10 o'clock hard stop because it's like literally right in the middle of a neighborhood, which is a crazy setup. But they have a 10 o'clock hard stop, and it was like 9:48. He still hadn't done Same Drugs. And I don't know what's popular out there. I'm not in tune with that. So I don't know which songs from Coloring Book are the cool ones that these little kids are all into. Anyway, it happens to be Same Drugs, I guess, because he saved that to the end. He did that and then did a little thing right after it, but I got my Same Drugs, which actually isn't about drugs if you listen to it. I got that, and that was an incredible end to a great night. And I'll leave you guys with this thought. It's actually not even my thought. It's my friend Jared, who was with me last night. He said this probably a year ago. He's like, do you remember when Kevin Durant was in his, second year in the league, I think, and, doing Kevin Durant type things? You're like, my God, we have another decade of this greatness to watch it unfold. he's like, that's how I feel about Chance right now. You know, he's 22, 21 then, whenever it was said. We have a decade and beyond, because obviously there's no shelf life necessarily on a musical career, but that's the type of level that this guy behaves at as an artist, which is exciting to see. So Chance the Rapper in Forest Hills, my experience there. I wanted to share that with you guys, and thanks for joining me, and I will catch you next time. Later.